we are talking about how to engage students online. A few points from our collective wisdom at all my colleagues in Murdoch University, Dubai. A few of the lists can be that you can still have guest lectures. If we use Blackboard Collaborate, and you can still bring in guest lectures if you speak to IT and prepare it beforehand. One more tip would be that you can still use breakout groups on Blackboard Collaborate to have individual groups where they speak. But one piece of advice, ask someone in the group to save the conversations that they had and paste it on the main chat later so that everyone in the other groups can also see it. Because once you exit the groups, the chats are lost when they come back to the main one. Another one we look at engaging students is suddenly having yes/no questions on Blackboard Collaborate. So you can always, when you put across a point, you can always come back and say, do you agree, yes or no? And it's a quick poll, yes or no. And suddenly they're able to, you can immediately find out on Blackboard Collaborate how many of the students have voted. And that's kind of, I do it every 25 minutes, 20 minutes, depending on when you want to, because that way you know who's logged in and who's logged into something else. Another trick is at the start of the lecture, I always take a few minutes to address each student by name. The first thing is we don't use video all the time because it helps with the bandwidth, considering bandwidth is extremely important for connection issues depending where students are. So it's always good to take the names, call out by names, and in between I do pause, take a student's name and say, hey, what do you think about this? So XYZ student always has to put on the mic, speak to us and say, this is what I think about it. Do a few comments. That way they know that you're listening, others are listening, and they pay attention to what's happening as well. When we show YouTube videos, what you can do on YouTube is start at, so you can exactly get the video to start at the moment that you want. Give them 2 minutes, ask them to come back and raise their hands so you know they're back. Once you do that, you can open up discussion for a few minutes. You'll be amazed how fast they type. So sometimes I find students are more engaged when they type out their comments, and oh boy, they can type hundreds of words in a couple of minutes. So that keeps them engaged, and you'll find a lot of chatter going on. Sometimes jump in and say, okay, excellent points, stop. And just take names again and say, great points, thank you so much, but this is what we're looking at. Another thing is permitting students to draw on the virtual whiteboards. So when you do settings, I think you can make them presenters and they can do their own drawings depending on the subjects that you do. So what we do is we take screenshots ahead. I know going online requires teachers to have more preparation. So I have screenshots, I have JPEGs, we can share media. I show them an ad, quickly share it, ask them for feedback. Please remember, being online is also more taxing for you and the students. So I have a break after an hour, perhaps a 5-minute break, ask them to go stretch the legs, have some water, come back. You find students coming back in 5 minutes, unlike the real class where they never come back in 5 minutes. So because the coffee machine is always busy or something's happening, but they're back here. I ask them to send in questions at the end of the class that I have the answers ready for next time around. Ready-made quizzes are always there on pearson.com, and there are several websites that help you do this. Just in case something breaks down, don't panic. You can use other software, or you can just sign out and sign in again. The mic, just make sure that everybody is on mute, and when you want them, call them by name and ask them to come in. Every 5-10 minutes, my colleagues feel every 5-10 minutes, use an activity that may be too short, depending on the subject that you've taken. So maybe you can use something else. I mean, it depends on your creativity, on how you want to engage these students. And you'll be amazed, and you can even ask them to share links, which is good to have a look at. So you'd be amazed how fast 2 hours or 3 hours online finishes. And I'm amazed that they're always there on time. No one's late on an online class. So usually they walk in late in a regular class. They can't be late in an online class. So I hope these tips help you engage with students. Do reach out to us, share your tips with us, and we look forward to having a more engaging online experience. Thank you.